have no approval of council minutes tonight. We have no council appointments. The next item is a rezoning request of Summit Avenue. The city has received a request from Richard Dickens to rezone 2.31 acres of land located on the west side of Summit Avenue, 300 feet north of the intersection of 4th Avenue, and a report from the planning director, Mr. George Gurley, is attached. The action that will be requested by the City Council tonight, number one, is to hold a public hearing to adopt a statement of consistency and to consider a motion to approve or deny the rezoning request. George?
Yes, sir. Mayor and council members, as you said, this is a rezoning request for 2.31 acres of property that's currently residentially zoned. It runs 400 feet along the west side of Summit Avenue, and it's on the east, also fronts 400 feet on the east side of Old Farm Road South. And this is a rezoning request to rezone the property from R6 residential to B4 business. The applicant was Mr. Richard Dickens, 319 Summit Avenue, Roanoke, North Carolina. In addition to Mr. Dickens, there were two other individuals who signed the request requesting this, but I just put Mr. Dickens' name on it for ease of advertising and what have you. But Mr. Paul Barfield and Mr. William Cox that own property that I'll point out up here. Now, the property we're talking about, if you recall, recently there was a residential lot that was located on this corner, this being 4th Avenue. It was one residential lot that was here that was at R6. Council saw, these two were B4. Council saw fit to rezone this to B4 business. What we're talking about now is an extension of that B4 business. The lots with the X's on it are the lots we're talking about, which goes to Roanoke. This is Summit Avenue. It has about 270 feet in depth, approximately 270 feet in depth, and it has most of the frontage would probably be on Summit Avenue, but it would also be able to have some access from Old Farm Road South, which is here. This would be an extension. All of this is B4 zoning. It's across the highway here. This would be an extension of zoning in this direction, but it would also be an extension of zoning back across in this opposite direction. The existing property, there are some dwellings that are located. I think it's 3 dwellings that's located on this site. The plans are to rezone the property to accommodate future commercial development. The zoning would permit a recombination of lots in the future at some point in time. And at that time, the zoning, like I said, would be extended down along Summit Avenue. Additionally, as far as traffic considerations, the zoning change would certainly change some of the traffic patterns on Summit Avenue and on Old Farm Road. Old Farm Road is a NC State DOT highway, so any kind of ingress, egress that may be looked at on Old Farm Road would have to be approved through a NC DOT permit. Summit Avenue is a city street, so any ingress, egress along there would have to be looked at by the city forces during any kind of review process. During the site plan review process, as you know, the Development Review Committee, which is made up of Public Works, Fire Department, North Dominion Power, the planning staff, and Sanitary District and other agencies, when this would be reviewed, it would be looked at to ensure that the ingress and egress are looked at, as well as stormwater management, sanitary sewer locations, refuge collection, things of that nature, to be sure that they're in compliance with all the federal, state, and local ordinances that are in place. Utilities, as far as the utilities, all the utilities are currently available to the site. Other considerations, the site adjoins existing B4 zoning that's on Summit Avenue to the south, so certainly it would make sense that you would extend this zoning back to the north. The property is is located in a primary growth area. I know at one of the meetings that was the meetings you had with some people in the public, it was talked about we needed to look at the plans and policies, and this is a good example of when council does look at those plans and policies. And I'm going to reference some of them, but we do look at those in our planning staff when we look at something to try to make a recommendation whether we go a certain way with a particular property or what have you. In this commercial growth area, there were, under commercial activities, there were several policies. It's policies 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, 3.4. Under transportation, policy 6.4. Under utilities and infrastructure, policy 7.1. And then under, we've got a Southern Corridor Growth Policy Plan. There were two policies there that I feel like would be relevant and should be considered when deciding whether to rezone this, and that was policy 6 and policy 7. As far as public response, the staff received one inquiry from a residential landowner concerning the types of permitted uses that were allowed in the B4 business zoning classification. There were some concerns about whether the property could be used for a manufactured home park or something along that line, or multifamily housing, which B4 zoning would not permit that type of activity. We also received a phone call from Mr. Phil Hux, and he expressed no opposition to the request on behalf of Atlantica LLC, which is one of the adjoining owners, and also from the HMJ Holdings. The planning and development staff recommends in favor of the request. We feel like it's consistent with the comprehensive development plan policies and land use policies that have been adopted by the City Council. The Roanoke Rapids Area Planning Board, to kind of follow up, held a meeting concerning this request on April the 16th, 2009. After a presentation and input from the public, board voted unanimously to approve the recommendation of consistency with adopted plans and to recommend to City Council that the zoning change take place from the R6 to the B4 commercial zoning classification. And that's all I have. I'll be happy to answer any questions the council may have.
Okay, thank you, George. Any councilman have a question for George at this time?
I just have one that's out of more of a curious question to the right of the exits. The property there. Yeah, that again is
All of this property is in yellow. It's showing yellow.
just a little block right there. Right.
This one?
To the right of the exits, right there, that property. And that is, what is that property?
That's R6.
R6.
Yeah. Everything that's yellow here is R6.
Are there any homes? There are homes in that?
There's a wooded area. I think there's a wooded area that's in part of this. I just don't recall right off. I believe there's a lightly wooded area that's right there. That's right. And there are some more homes that are further down the street. And again, I want to just apologize for the quality of this and using X's and what have you, but with not having my planner on staff now, he can do the mapping and make them look a lot nicer, but I think it still serves us some purpose.
They look real good, George.
Thank you. Yes, I agree.